What's up, bitches?
Let's talk about crime.
What's up, bitches?
Hello.
Okay, we're in a different area. We're actually at Sierra's house doing this. So again, if it sounds funny, we're sorry. Also, we normally have boom mic things. We don't have those. We've got one tripod and one hand holding microphone. So apologies in advance, but we're spending the day at Sierra's house because we have people looking at our house for buying it. So this is where we're at.
Well, and more than likely, this will be probably the future of the podcast.
I'm actually thinking so, because even though it's kind of a pain, I'm thinking it's going to be best to be here because I think there's less of an echo here than there is at our house because our walls everything's empty.
Well,
And
my parents have a trailer at my house as well. And
Yeah.
technically we could go in there, but
We
I live
actually
right
have.
next to a freeway.
Yeah, actually,
And
if
I
you
feel like
listen,
it might be pretty loud.
if you listen to Fatal Blend, you've actually heard the Fatal Blend trailer sagas, because Jay and I have definitely recorded while we have been out camping, and you can absolutely hear a lot of the background noise. Whereas in here, we're in an office. It's definitely not podcast worthy necessarily, but there is, things on the wall to kind of deaden the echoes a little bit. Better than my house. So my guess is for the foreseeable future, this is where all of the Crime Bitches and Fatal Blend podcasting will be done, is in this little office. And you should see us. We've got this little setup where we've got two desks facing each other. And so we're like not on our bed like we normally are. And we're just chilling like across from each other, which really,
I feel like this is more comfortable.
this would probably be a better setup, truthfully. So when we get into whatever new house we get into, if we have the space, I might consider getting two desks, that's actually how Fatal Blend started. Your dad and I used to do that. He wanted it to be more different, but I kind of feel like this is a better set. In my opinion, this is a better setup. I think it's easier. And if we ever do video, you can record us from the side, right? I don't know. We haven't decided. We'll see what happens. But anyways, that's not what we're here. We're not actually here to tell you all about what's going on in the land of Fatal Blend and Crime Bitches. We are here to talk about true crime, though. And this true crime that we're going to talk about today is, I guess I'll say it's brought to you by Sierra.
Hell yeah.
I'll say it's brought to you by Sierra. However, it's not a post. It's not a Facebook post. It is from the book that you bought me of Unsolved Deaths. It's an unsolved. Okay, so this is an unsolved murder. It's an unsolved death. And it's one that I was like kind of interested in. And then when I started to dig deeper, I'm like, oh yeah, we can definitely do this. So thank you, Sierra, for the book, because that helped me this week. So we'll get into it. So what are we talking about this week? We are talking about what happened to Christa Helm. Now, this happened in 1977 in West Hollywood. Christa Helm is found beaten and stabbed to death on the streets in West Hollywood. So a little background. So Christa Helm was actually born Sandra Woolfield, and she was born November 10th, 1949 in Wisconsin. She was the oldest of three daughters, and at the age of 3, her parents get divorced. Her father moves out, starts to live his life. Her mother, unfortunately, suffers from severe alcoholism, and her 2 sisters are staying with her mother. Sandra's father goes on and eventually remarries and has 2 more children. The 3 girls are living with the mother, and the mother never gets married again. However, she does have quite a few different relationships with quite a few different men, and actually suffers from abusive relationships with these other men. Now, Sandra, or Christa, I'm calling her Sandra for the background part, but we'll move her name to Christa because that's what she went by when she died, but in the beginning. So her daughter, she actually says that oftentimes the men that her grandmother would bring into the house and be in relationships with would molest her mother. So there is some claims of abuse. Now, eventually, the 3 girls move out of their mother's home. They move in with their father and his new family. And that's kind of where that goes. Now, at the age of 16, Sandra, she ends up meeting a man named Gary Clements. And I say man because she was 16 and he was 26. She meets him. They have like a little fling-a-ding-ding. She gets pregnant and they end up having a shotgun wedding because, back in the 70s, if you got pregnant, you needed to get married quick. So that's what she did. Then after she ends up having her daughter's name was Nicole. After she ends up having her daughter, shortly after, her husband just like disappears. Just nowhere to be found. Now, she does get told that he got into a motorcycle accident while he was in Florida, and she actually never really believed that this was it. She actually really thinks and thought, even up until her death, that he literally just left her because he didn't want to raise a child. By the way, with like a 16, 17-year-old girl. And he is, again, like 26, 27 by this time. So Sandra moves on. She starts to work as a waitress. She's taking care of her daughter. And then at some point during her lifetime, she decides that she has more ambitions to her life than just being a waitress. Okay. So she ends up leaving her daughter with a friend. Some reports said it was with her mother's friend, but regardless, with a friend or like one of her friend's mothers. There's 3 different reports, but at the end of the day, she leaves her daughter to be taken care of by this other person. And she decides she's going to move to New York because she wants to be a model. Now, I will stop here really quick and say that I know a lot of people are probably like, well, that's fucking fucked up. Yeah, sure, maybe. But if she left her daughter in a safe environment to be raised while she tried to go out and do something with her life, that's okay. Like, I'm not going to sit there and judge that. Like, you do you. Now, she was described as being intelligent, ambitious, determined, and extremely good looking. And she was. I saw multiple pictures of her. She's blonde. She was like a blonde bombshell, very pretty, very Hollywood-esque type person. And she actually does end up making some money in the modeling industry. And she even goes on to like join in on the celebrity party circuit in New York City. So she starts to rub elbows with all the rich people. She hangs out with them. She's modeling. She's kind of with the in crowd. And this is about the time that she changes her name from Sandra Woolfield to Christa Helm. Now, she also ends up living in a very luxurious apartment. She hung out with the it crowd, which was celebrities, the rich and the famous, rock stars. And she was even named Bachelorette of the Month by the Cosmopolitan magazine. That's how she started to really get out there. And so she was starting to become fairly popular. Christa is able to actually obtain 2 small roles in movies too. She was in the horror film Legacy of Satan, which was filmed in 1972. And she had a small part in Let's Go for Broke, which was filmed in 1973. Again, doing all of this while she's in New York City. Now, in 1974, she decides that she wants to move to Hollywood because she'd like to really focus on a TV movie career. Clearly, I mean, she's already started kind of getting into that New York, but where's the best place to go? Hollywood. She actually does get guest roles in Wonder Woman, the TV show, and in Starsky and Hutch, the TV show. So she actually does move to Hollywood, get some different TV guest roles. She also even becomes a major, she stars in a major commercial for Coppertone. The sun, I want to say sunscreen, but I feel like back in the 70s, it was probably like suntan oil for Coppertone. But Coppertone, but again, she was a blonde, beautiful blonde bombshell type girl. So that's what you want. Now, not too soon after she moves to Hollywood, she begins to connect in all the same ways that she did in New York. So she is now beginning to rub elbows with the rich and the famous. She is getting to know celebrities. She is getting to know rock stars. She actually stays with a man named Bernie Cornfield. He has this humongous mansion in Beverly Hills, and he's a financier. I don't know that fucking word. Financier. He makes a shit ton of money by I think investor type thing. I don't know how you say the damn word, so I'm not going to say because I sound stupid. So she's living with him. Now, to be fair, I don't think that they were in a relationship or anything because I will say that he was described as flamboyant. So I don't think that they were in a relationship. I think she genuinely was I think he had a big, huge house. I think he opened his home to her. She lived with him in this big mansion. And then that kind of led her into the Hollywood path with all the celebrities. During this time, she also apparently was set to work on a disco album because, again, it's the 70s, but this album was actually never released. So I don't know if she ever actually got to work on it before she died or if she had worked on it. It just never got set to be released. Also during this time, Christa was romantically linked with many Hollywood celebrities and rock celebrities. She was romantically linked to Warren Beatty, Michael Sarrazin, Desi Arnaz. She was linked to Junior and George Hamilton. She was linked to Johnny Rivers. She was also linked to Mick Jagger. She was linked to Engelbert Humperdinck. And yes, that's a real fucking name. I knew you were going to give me that look. Like, I knew it.
Most people in Hollywood are allowed to pick a name. That's the fucking name.
I don't know. And I want to say.
And also, if that's your birth name, your parents are
they hate you. They hate you. If that's your actual name, they hated you the day you were born. Engelbert. Like, you might not be able to control the last name, but Engelbert, really? But I don't know. I think Engelbert Humperdinck actually was a rock star. And then Roman Polanski and Joe Namath. Now, Joe Namath is a football. He's like a super football guy.
So I had to look it up. Engelbert Humperdinck is the stage name of Arnold George Dorsey. He was a British pop singer.
Who the fuck? Engelbert Humperdinck. Okay, well, at least his parents didn't hate him. Like,
bro, this motherfucker's still alive.
Wonder if he still goes by that. Hey, Engelbert. Like, what do people call him?
Well, his sibling's name is Olga.
But I mean, that's kind of normal for like the European area. But like, what do people call him? Do you think people are like, what's up, Ang? Like, what?
Oh, he's going to have a celebration tour in 2026.
Oh, boy. We should go.
Australia and New Zealand.
Okay. Well, I guess we can't see that. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I think he still goes by that name.
Interesting. Okay. So, yeah. So she's definitely romantically linked in many ways to many Hollywood people in Hollywood. People that you would definitely, when you see it, you're like, oh, yeah, like. She's kind of in the in crowd. There was even a story written that she was being flown, like she flew to the Shah of Iran's palace to entertain him. So back in this time, there were rumors swirling around that different party girls, actresses, and models were secretly working for the U.S. government to dig up facts about the Shah of Iran and Iran as well. And so it would not be very far-fetched to think that she was actually like flew over there to entertain him, but not really because she was entertaining him, but maybe she was a kind of spy for the United States. So maybe keep that in mind a little bit when it comes to the story. Now, through all of the trysts and lovers that she had, which was a lot, she kept a diary. And it has also been reported that she may have even had some audio tapes as well as this diary. And it is said that she had rated her sexual encounters with the A-list celebrities and the rock stars in said diary. And yes, rated them on a rating scale. On February 12th, 1977, Christa attends a party in Hollywood with her roommate and a woman named Stephanie Warshaw. Now, they also invited Sandy Smith, who was a Hollywood agent who had been linked with Christa some of the reports that I read said that he was her agent. Others said that they just knew each other. So she had called up Sandy, and Sandy is a man. And she had said hey, come with us to this, these parties. And he's like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to go. And Krista's like, no, I want you to come. And he's like, no, I'm good. And I almost wonder if she wanted him to come with her, because if they're going to parties in Hollywood, you're going to meet people. And if you're there with somebody who's a Hollywood agent that's pretty well known, now that connections, right? Those networking things. And so she wanted him to come. So she says, I'm not going to take no for an answer. So she jumps in her car and she drives, or she borrows Stephanie's car. And she drives over to Sandy's house, and she wants to persuade him to come to these parties in Hollywood with her. Nobody really knows what happens after this, but at some point, it's either after she literally went up to his house and knocked on the door or whatever, or it was before she even stepped foot on his property. It's not really known. She is attacked from behind. Now, fun fact, Christa actually had training in karate, and some of the reports even said she was a certified black belt. And so keep in mind that she had some at least training on how to fight. However, she was not able to fight off the person who was attacking her. So that to me already makes me go, oh, this person must have been stronger than her or bigger than her. So there's that. She was stabbed 23 times. Many of them were in her neck and her face and then in her back. She also had defensive wounds. She is then bludgeoned with a blunt object. It is thought that it was either the handle of the knife that was used or a hammer. Now later, Sandy, the one that she was at the house to go see, was interviewed about this. And his claim is that he's like, I didn't even know any of this happened because I was sleeping. When she would have shown up to my house, I would have been asleep. So I didn't even hear anything. Now, shortly after the attack, Christa's body is found by a young man who's actually crossing the street in that area, and he actually sees her body. Now, some of the reports had said that she was found laying next to her car with keys in her hand. However, it has also been said that she was lying half underneath a parked car. And the man that found her said that when he walked towards her, he actually heard her take a really deep breath, and it was her last breath that she had taken. Now, I will tell you, I saw actual crime scene footage. So I can tell you, because I saw it, she was lying underneath a car, like half underneath. Like her upper body is out from the car, but her legs are like under this car. And there is blood all over her body, and there's like trails of blood on the ground. Her murder received, interestingly, not very much press coverage, which I find very surprising because she was in with a lot of A-list celebrities and rock stars. She was on her way to being like a Hollywood princess type thing. And so the fact that she was murdered and like stabbed 23 times, and the fact that nobody wanted to talk about it, I feel is very strange. This actually leads to some people thinking that it was who she knew and what she knew that actually got her killed. That's one of the big things that people think, is that she knew things, she knew of things, and that led to her death. Now, according to a witness who actually saw her the night of her death, she was carrying a handbag with her, and the handbag had a Tommy Boy logo on it. However, this handbag was never found the crime scene. It was never found at the crime scene. Actually, it was never found in general. There is a very strong speculation that this bag that she was carrying had her diary, if not also the audio tapes inside of this bag. And it is said that there would have been quite a bit of information in this diary about both A-list celebrity men and women and rock star men and women. She did tell friends about the diary. So she has friends that she actually sat down with, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm sleeping with this person or this person, and I most definitely have written about them. I've talked about them. Like and many told her, you need to be really careful with this type of information, because the shit you're messing with Hollywood celebrities. They're powerful. Now, one of her friends even said that she thought maybe she was going to be saving the information so that someday she could write a book about all the things that she experienced while she was in Hollywood. And then other people thought that she might actually be keeping this information to be able to use it for her own type of blackmail. Because why else would you be keeping these kinds of information about people? She had a friend who still lived in Wisconsin, that the two of them, they kind of started this whole, we want to be models, we want to be, famous together type thing. They both had children, and her friend's mother actually was the one, I believe, who actually took care of these kids. And her friend was not able to continue down this path, but she stayed in contact with her. And she actually said that she, not too long before Christa's death, she said that she received a postcard from Christa, and the postcard said, I am in way over my head here. I'm into something I can't get out of. So right there, that tells you there's definitely some other shit going on that nobody knows about. Now, police do investigate her death, obviously. They also search endlessly for this supposed diary. and nothing has ever come out of it. The diary has never been found to this day. Audio tapes have never been found this day. Her murder has not been solved. They said that they do know that after doing their investigation, they said that they do believe that she was being chased or that she knew she was being followed, because they said that they know that she stopped her car abruptly really fast. They also said that they know that she got into a heated conversation with somebody before she was attacked. And they said that the neighbors also had reported hearing her screams when she was killed. So as it sits right now, there are still 2 boxes of investigative notes and 4 notebooks that are filled with names and other important information that the LAPD had collected. And over 70 people have actually been interviewed and re-interviewed in this case. Christa's daughter was 9 years old when her mother died. And yes, her daughter did not live with her. However, Nicole did visit her mother numerous times. Nicole had actually come out and said, like, I remember meeting these people. I remember visiting these people. And her daughter's actually the whole reason why they have even considered looking into this again, because she wants justice for her mother's death. There is also an entirely different possibility for Christa's death. And that is that it was simply a robbery gone wrong. And the reason that this was something that has been brought up is because the police did note that there could be a connection between Christa's death and that of actor Sal Mineo. Now, there were some similarities between the two. Like, for instance, Sal was stabbed to death exactly 1 year prior to her. So he was stabbed to death February 12th, 1976. She was killed February 12th, 1977 in the same area. And there was a pizza delivery man. His name was Lionel Williams. He was actually convicted for the murder of Sal. And he was convicted of several other robberies. And he was in jail in the 90s. Now, this idea kind of disappeared because they were like, well, he's in jail. So, like, obviously he didn't do it. However, it is later found out that he was arrested for the murder of Sal, but he wasn't arrested for that murder until after the murder of Christa. So it is entirely possible that he was out and stabbed her. So as it sits today, this case is still unsolved. And I personally think, along with many other people, that it will remain unsolved forever. Now, I will say this. I personally think this is more of a personal crime. I do not think it's a robbery gone wrong. I think it's very personal just because of the amount of stab wounds, because you don't stab somebody 23 times if you're trying to rob them. You don't. It's like a rage killing, if you will. Like 23 stabs is either a crime of passion or a fucking rage, because you took that shit out on her face, like her fucking face. So to me, that's not I just wanted to steal from her. Now this also brings me to something else. I do believe that she probably knew her attacker, because again, it was said that people heard arguing outside of her car that night. So she must have known her attacker. And then I seriously have questions about Sandy, the agent. And the reason I have those questions, because he claims to not have heard anything because he was asleep.
But all your other fucking neighbors heard screaming. I call bullshit.
Exactly. Because the other neighbors said, oh no, we heard screams. And let me explain to you, not only did they hear her screams, but do you want to hear the description they had of her screams? They said that they heard screaming, but it was described, they said it sounded like a cat was being skinned alive. That's a high-pitched, scary-ass scream for you to be sleeping through. Now, granted, you have a mansion, but like, also you had talked to her not too long prior to that. So unless you are a really fast, deep sleeper, I just don't buy it.
But also, none of you motherfuckers went out there when you heard the screaming. Like, I'm just throwing that out there.
Listen, okay, so this has something to do with what I learned in psychology, and this is how the bystander effect actually became a thing. And it wasn't this case, but there was a woman who was being attacked outside, and all these people could hear her screaming and being attacked, and they looked out their window out of their apartments and they saw her screaming for help and being attacked, and every single one of them assumed that somebody else was going to call the police. So they shut the windows and went about their night. And guess what? Nobody called the police. So that is probably very similar to what happened here, is people were probably like, oh, I'm sure somebody's going to do it. So this case was reopened in 2007 at the pushing of her daughter. They looked for DNA evidence. They re-interviewed people. And I'm sad to say that literally nothing came out of it. This is why I don't think we're ever going to see it solved. Because I don't think that they have enough evidence to actually be able to process it through DNA or anything. Because I don't even think they have. I mean, they looked for DNA. But listen, I think... Again, this happened in the 70s. They weren't really swabbing for DNA at that time. So yeah, that's where it sits right now. So this is the case of Christa Helm. What do you think?
I think it was Sandy.
Yeah, that's it. It was Sandy. That's it.
Fucking case closed. No, I mean, my thing is like, what motivation he would have had, don't know. Because I don't know enough about their relationship. I don't know enough about him as an individual. However, I think since the beginning of time with Hollywood, the Illuminati's been a real thing. So I think it could be like maybe Sandy's linked to that Illuminati type shit.
Well, considering that she sent a postcard to her friend that said that she's in way deeper than she thought and that she can't get out, I think there's definitely something evil in the Hollywood-esque era.
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe at that party they were going to meet somebody, her and Sandy, or maybe Sandy knew of somebody that was going to be there and was like, fuck no. Like, there's something just sketchy about how is it that the last time she was seen alive
was around his house,
or even heard alive, was around his house, yet I don't know anything.
I know
nothing.
Well,
and I'm sorry, but I feel like sometimes the fucking agents of Hollywood are shadier than the goddamn actors and actresses.
Totally. But I will tell you this also, the other part that there's two...
And money goes a long way.
There's two other things that I think about. The whole, if it's true that she went to the Shah of Iran's palace, especially like at this time, the government was looking... kind of strange. I'm not gonna say, kind of strange given the times, but they were looking into trying to gain information. So if that was ever found out, there's that. But I don't think that's
as convinced.
No, I agree. I don't think that's how she would have died. First of all, the other thing is though, she kept a lot of information about celebrities. And I mean, I'm assuming because nobody's ever seen her diary, and they do say that if they were to ever get their hands on her diary, they do think they'd be able to solve the killer. Yeah. But I definitely think that she didn't just score them. I don't think she was like, 9 out of 10, right? I think she was learning information from these people and then writing about them. And one thing I will say is there was a woman that she did sleep with, and that woman and her they had never had any relationships with any women before that. And this woman had actually come out and said, I've never been in a relationship with a woman after her. Like it was just something about her, like drew me to her. And there's also another woman that she was in a relationship with that miraculously disappeared after her death and that has never been found. So there is also that idea of...
Makes you think about like the Epstein files and how all these fucking celebrities all of a sudden shut their mouth and shit like that. It's basically the Epstein, not literally because it's not the exact same scenario, but it makes me think of Epstein files just in the 70s.
Yeah, and that's
where
kind
there's some shady shit going on and you just make them disappear.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is I'm thinking she pissed off somebody in Hollywood and they decided that they were going to take care of her or paid somebody to take care of her.
I don't think Sandy did the crime. I don't think that. But I think, hello, you got fucking money, dude. You know that you know people. I think for sure he hired somebody to do something about it. And maybe it was having her followed or some shit. And then whether he knew that she was going to his house or not, pulled the trigger some way, somehow. Maybe
that's why he didn't want to go out with her that night.
But also in the 70s, I mean, they didn't have like Ring cameras, but you know, people who had a lot of money, they had some sort of security system of some fashion. And I know for a fact that there were probably some sort of videos or something. I don't know. To me, the Sandy guys would be my number one suspect that I'd be fucking grilling. And the fact that they didn't.
Well, they probably did. Like I said, they've interviewed 70 people in this case. And they've re-interviewed 70 people in this case.
Pick on Sandy? Because my thing is, again, money can go a long way, especially in Hollywood.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't know the LAPD in the 70s, but I would guess that since she died in front of his house, that was probably their number one suspect for a hot minute. I mean, that would just make the most sense, right? Is that some guy who she happened to know and she dies in front of his home? I am sure that they took their time to really look into Sandy. The thing is, I don't know for sure if I'm sold on Sandy or not. I definitely think, because like I said, this type of a crime is not like, oh, I was going to rob her. This is definitely a rage killing. You don't stab somebody 23 times in their face, head and back just because you feel like killing somebody. Even the serial killers that I cover, majority of them do not kill like that. So to me, that means that whoever killed her, it was a personal killing. And I think that if it was somebody like paid for by Sandy or some other celebrity, you would not have had that level of anger. So I personally think it was somebody that she had potentially had a little rendezvous with, and they found out about her diary. And maybe it was somebody that she had gotten into an argument with and threatened to blackmail them. You don't know. Nobody knows. But what is known is that her diary is gone and has never been found. And they even searched like her home that she lived in and everything. They have never found any of those items. They did find that one of her friends had actually cleared out her belongings really before the police could get there. And when the police went and talked to him, he explained that he was trying to save her from being not made fun of, but basically he didn't want her to come under scrutiny of the public because of the stuff that she had. She was a sex symbol, if you will. And so I think there was also like, he didn't want her to be painted as a harlot, you know, in Hollywood. So he said that he had one of his friends go over there and basically take all of her belongings. And they did eventually find majority of her belongings at his home. And he let them go and look through all of her belongings that he had taken. However, the tapes and the diary were never found. Now, there is very possible that she didn't actually have a diary, but I would find it very hard to believe that she was bragging to her friends about having a diary about all the people that she was messing around with in Hollywood if she didn't really have one. That's just something like, why would you say that, right? So anyways, that is the story of Christa Helm. So if you have any ideas or any theories, or if you have heard this story before and you have even some other theories that have popped up, let me know. Email us, go to our socials, type it in the socials, go to the TikTok, give us your information. I love it. I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this. So if you like the things that you hear, if you like listening to Sarah and I talk about all the true crime things, make sure you're following us. Click the share button. If you like us and you think somebody else might like us, share us. We genuinely appreciate you and all of the listeners because y'all are killing it. We just keep going. I say it every week, but it's not a lie. Like every week I go to look at downloads and it's like every week we've gained more downloads, more downloads, more downloads. And I appreciate it probably more than you ever know because again, I've said this a million times, but you guys make it so that I'm not weird as fuck.
Oh, and in case anybody's wondering, you can't find any fucking information on the agent. Just throwing that out there.
I think he died. I think he died 10 years because when I think there was it the agent? I should have written it down. There was one person they were interested in talking to about it, but he had died 10 years prior to when they went 10 years before 2008 when they went to re-interview.
Yeah,
people.
but I'm saying even then you can't there's nothing.
So it is a mystery.
Just saying.
See, it's going to be a mystery until the day we all die because I don't think it's ever going to be solved. And that makes me sad for Nicole because she really wanted some closure on this. And that sucks. And, you know, she's pushing. She has continued to try to push to get help. And people have offered to help. Like I said, they reopened it, but they couldn't find anything in 2008. So maybe in the next, 10 years, they can reopen it again. And maybe we'll have other technologies that maybe they will be able to find something. You never know. If there's any sort of DNA, now we do genealogy, which we weren't doing in 2008. So maybe that's an option. Anyways, all that to say, thank you for listening to me tell you the story about the strange death of Christa Helm. Until next week, catch you on the flip side, bitches.
Bye, bitches.